Hi, Martin here. Today I'm going to show you how to build a spanner wrench for your camshafts for your 4.7 and 3.7 liter Dodge and Jeep motors. Here I got a camshaft right here. This is an HO camshaft for your 4.7s. I've got the cam gear on here, and the big problem is, let's say you're changing out this cam, or maybe you're doing some timing chain work. The problem is getting this bolt loose without putting a lot of stress on the timing chain or keeping the motor from rotating. So you'll see a lot of people, they may use a vice grip or channel lock, and they're directly clamping that to the surface of the camshaft right in here. I feel a little uncomfortable doing that. And so what I did is I made the spanner wrench, basically a flat piece of metal, and you're going to buy a few bolts, and then buy an inexpensive socket, 3/8 drive. Just some cheap one will work just fine. You're going to see in the video I used a 3/8 drive extension. By doing the socket, it takes a few steps out of it and simplifies it a little bit. The tool fits right on here like so. Put your socket here in the middle. Put your 1/2-inch drive extension on here, and you're able to hold this all still. Cam will not rotate, and you can break that bolt loose or tighten it with no problem at all. Alright, well, let's get started. Alright, some of the things you're going to need. I got a flat piece of stock here, just a mild steel, and it measures 3 inches wide. The length isn't that important. This particular piece is about 8 3/4 inches long. It will need to be at least, I'm going to say, a minimum of 3 inches would be nice. So a 3 by 3 inch piece of mild steel. I'm going to end up using most of this as I'm going to make a handle out of it. We're going to get rid of some of the material along the sides here. Okay, and of course you kind of need the sprocket. So I've got an extra sprocket because I got the camshafts from Pick Apart, and then I got the sprocket with it. That's going to help a lot. Otherwise you don't have this measurement that we need right here. So we're going to use this sprocket as our guide. Another thing, you'll need a tap. This is a 12/24 tap. The appropriate bit is a number 16, so this is a numbered bit set. And then you're going to need a couple 12/24 screws. Now these are not the ones I'm going to use. You are going to need some. You're going to want to get at least a grade 8. Then I just got a couple cheap. You can either use a socket. Now you want a 3/8 drive. I'm probably going to use this extension. And why I would use that is because it's going to be easier probably to get a drill bit size to this. You know, this is something we probably got laying around. I haven't measured this. It looks like a good 1/2 inch. Opposed to the socket, which looks like at least 5/8. I've not measured this either, but a lot of people don't have a 5/8 inch drill bit. So this is going to be probably the cheaper way to go. And then you also want to get a 7/32 drill bit. That's the one that fits nicely in this hole right here. And we're only going to use it to mark the center, so we get this exactly right. We're going to come down here, make a little dimple on each one of these, then come back with the appropriate drill bit and drill out the hole and tap. Kind of hard to see, but there they are. Now we're going to drill those out with the appropriate drill bit, the number 16 drill bit. Now with that done, go ahead and tap the two holes using the 1224 tap. Important when you're tapping a hole that you back this up every so often and cut off the excess material. It makes the tap going a lot easier. Yeah, here we go. Cutting, and then just back, and then go again. And the same to the second hole. There we go. Now, once you got that part done, like I say, I'm not going to use these particular screws, but I am for this, what I'm about to do for this purpose, I am. And these should line right up. Of course they don't. Well, the sprocket must have moved on me a little bit. They don't line up like they should. So I'm just going to move the sprocket a little bit on one side, drill and re-drill a new hole. Alright, re-drilled the hole. That time, yeah, it lined up really nice. Okay, now I got a 31/64 here. I want to dimple the very center of this right here. Now I always like to use pilot bits. You know, don't drill out using a real big bit right away. Make the job easier on your bigger drill bit by using a small one. Okay, I got this stock fastened down here in the drill press, and I'm going to drill out that center hole that I put in here. I have to slow down the speed on the drill press way too fast. Okay, now I've moved all the way up to a 13/16 drill bit. And I'm going to show you why here as soon as I get done drilling this out. Okay, now with that center hole drilled in here, and I've just put these two screws in here just to show you so you can get an idea where we're heading. And here we got our cam gear with the cam bolt. It is a 15 millimeter. I've got a 15 millimeter Craftsman deep well socket here. So imagine this is on the engine. You're going to line your tool up like so. We got it on the 2 holes back here. And then we're going to cut this down, make a nice handle. You take your 15mm socket, and bam, it goes right through there. Now you're going to be able to hold this part securely while you got your ratchet on here and loosening that center bolt. Putting no tension on the timing chain whatsoever, because you're going to be taking it off by holding this. Now we're also going to put I'm not done here yet, so hang on. Okay, now another thing I'm going to do is, you can see this gear's got 3 holes on it. Now, on the right side of the vehicle, you only have 1. The other 2 are sealed up with a rivet because there's the wheel here for the cam sensor. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a 3rd one here at this location. Now, I wouldn't necessarily have to do that. I could just simply remove one of these bolts when it comes time to use this tool on the right side of the vehicle, and you have just the 1 stud. But what I'm going to do is add the 3rd one. That way I could have all 3 when doing the left side of the vehicle, or it gives you more options. You don't have to necessarily crank the engine to get the tool in the correct position to operate. You can remove 1 or 2 of them, and that way it'll work in more places. Now, you have your socket on there. There you go. Alright, here I got the tool. Of course, we're not done yet, of course. But I got 2 of the bolts removed with just this one. Now, depending where the camshaft is positioned at the time you place this tool, depends on which bolt you would have in here. This is on the passenger side, right side. So let's say you place that on there. Grab your socket with your 15mm. You're going to place that right like so. Now you hold the tool firmly, and now you can simply tighten or loosen that bolt. And I can get it pretty doggone tight right now. Okay, I'm liking this. And once you get it broke loose, you can always just remove the tool. And this would be finger tight at that point. And there you are. Okay, we'll drill in a pilot hole here. This is for the 3/8 drive extension. And now we're drilling it out in 1/2-inch diameter. Alright, got the hole drilled out. I did use a stepper bit. That would be totally optional, just to give it a flared, because of the extensions got that flared. So now it sits in there real nice like that. Now what I'm going to do now is weld this to the plate, and then we'll just cut off the excess on the back side. Okay, I'm just going to remove a little excess material on each corner right here. I placed this washer in here. I just use it as a guide when I use my plasma. Okay, I went ahead and just cleaned it up. Of course, totally optional. Used a flapper disc, and went ahead and engraved my Martin-built cam tool, Jeep Dodge 3.7 4.7 into it. Okay, and you can see here, you just take your breaker bar or a ratchet, that'll go on there. And then you'd have your camshaft and sprocket. Line those up. And you got your ratchet with a 15mm socket on there. And that goes in there. Now you're able to hold your sprocket still with your breaker bar and break loose or tighten the bolt on the camshaft, and that takes all the stress off of the timing chain. You're not putting any stress on it, and you're keeping everything still. Okay, we're here at Pick Apart, and I found an engine that's already got the valve cover removed, 4.7, of course. This is on a Dodge Durango. Now I want to show you how this tool can work no matter what position this is in. I didn't rotate the engine in any way. Now, because the third hole on this sprocket is way down here, I cannot use all 3 bolts of this tool. I had to remove one of the bolts. So now I can place it on here on those 2 bolts. Put your ratchet on here.
That goes there.
Put your 15mm on here. Now, holding the one steady, we'll see if we can break this loose. No problem. Now you're able to remove the bolt.
That should be easy to get off, right?
Yep.
Nice and easy.
There we go. Now we're going to move to the other side. Alright, on this particular one, we only got the one hole in the cam gear. So we're going to have to remove 2 of the bolts. And the way the cam is positioned, I'm going to remove the one I had on the other one out, and this one here, like so.
Oh.
Okay, now we're going to go ahead and place it on the gear. Okay, so we got this one hole right down here. Now I place it on that hole just like that. Put that on there. I'm putting tension on this to hold the tool steady with the breaker bar. Now that one was fairly tight, and but it broke it loose with no problem. There we go. Alright, so, and then the tightening is just basically in reverse. Install the bolt back. Take your cam tool here, or your spanner tool. You place that on there. Our breaker bar. Okay, so now I can go ahead and tighten. Oh yeah, you can get this really tight, no problem. I mean, you'll be able to torque that right to spec. Well, as you can see, that actually worked really well. I was really impressed with it. Worked even better than I even thought it would. I got these set of HO cams a while back and been wanting to put them in the Grand Cherokee. So I wanted to make the whole installation a little bit easier, and making this is going to help a lot. Well, alright, well, thanks for watching, and please subscribe.